Hey, all you fellow laundromat lovers. This is Jordan with the Laundromat Resource Podcast, show number 28, and I am pumped, as always, that you are here today because today we're going young. Mason is with us today. He's 21 years old. He owns a laundromat, and I am just fascinated by Mason and his story and his mindset and just the way he's going after it. He's got some awesome input for anyone out there who owns a laundromat, but also anyone out there who wants to own a laundromat, particularly if you're younger or if you've been saying to yourself, and I know you're out there because I talk to a lot of you guys on coaching calls, but if you're saying to yourself, man, I want to buy a laundromat or I should buy a laundromat, and you've been doing that for a really long time and you haven't done anything yet, this one's for you. Mason tells you how to go after it and go get it. So I'm super pumped about it. I loved talking to Mason this week, and I know that you're going to love his story too. He's got great input, and he's bringing some fresh stuff too. And I love that. So if you're looking to get better with your own laundromat or you're looking to get in the business, Mason's got some good stuff for you today. But I wanted to take a second and welcome a couple people who introduced themselves on the introduction forums. If you go to laundromatresource.com/forums, there's a new member introduction area where you can go in there. You can let people know who you are and where you're at in your laundromat journey and go meet some other people who've introduced themselves. Again, I say it all the time, but it's that networking. It's that working together that's going to elevate all of us, all of our businesses and us personally. So get in there and start networking. Go introduce yourself if you haven't done that yet, and go say what's up to some other people who've already introduced themselves. This community is growing like weeds. We just passed 1,000 people this week. This coming week, I'm anticipating passing 10,000 podcast downloads this week with this episode. So that is just insane to me. Thank you guys all for listening. And I love that. So we'll celebrate that next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we should make it though. Also I need to just shout out Rob, who is probably the envy of my wife, because Rob mentioned in one of the forum posts that he listens to the podcast at 1.5 times speed as he walks around his neighborhood. And I told him, man, my wife is going to be so jealous because she always says that I'm a slow talker and a slow thinker. And man, if she could listen to me at 1.5 speed, she'd be a happy woman. But Rob, way to do it, man. Way to do it. All right. And a little ribbing there too. I like that. Anyways, hey, a couple quick things I wanted to highlight from the forums this week, because I thought a couple of quick, cool questions came up. Number one is Greg. He has his eye on a laundromat and he wants to make an offer. He needs some help figuring out exactly how to do that. How do you actually present an offer? Is there, maybe you have a template or a format that you use. Maybe you can head over to the forums, laundromatresource.com/forums, and help Greg out with that. And in a similar vein, Justin was saying that he actually went in, he's got his eye on a particular laundromat, and the seller basically shut him down when he asked if they wanted to sell. And so he's trying to figure out what's his next step. So head in there and help out Greg, help out Justin with those couple of things. And I just wanted to real quick, Tom Donnelly, this is specifically for you. There are people who want your leads on laundromats. So get in there, back in that forum. There's people who've been reaching out to you. So get back in there and go talk with those guys and see if you can work out a deal with them. So, man, so much cool stuff happening right now. So much cool stuff going on in this community. It just blows me away. I'm enjoying every single second of it, and I love it. So, okay, enough of all of that, because I really want to get into it with Mason today. But I do have one more quick announcement. It's something that I'm really excited about. A lot of you guys have already done a free coaching call with me, laundromatresource.com/coaching. And you can sign up for a free 30-minute coaching call. It's awesome. I do probably at least 2 or 3 a day, almost every single day during the week. And so get in there and do that. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to do that as we keep growing. So get in there soon. But I added another option in there, and this is not for everybody, but some of you guys might really be interested in this. And if you've already done a coaching call, but you want to do another one, this might be another awesome opportunity for you. But I thought that I'd throw in an option for another free coaching block. But this one's on a video Zoom, and it would be recorded, and we'd put it somewhere in the Laundromat Resource community for people to be able to go in there and see how the coaching goes and maybe learn from what we talk about in those coaching calls and be able to kind of get a glimpse into that. So I thought that was a cool option. Maybe some of you guys are interested. If not, totally fine. Just throwing out, trying to do different things to help you guys succeed in the laundromat industry. Maybe this is one of those things. Maybe it's not. We'll see. But same place to go if you want to do that. And if you've done a coaching call before and you want to do a Zoom call, sign up for a Zoom call. I love to do it. I think it'd be awesome. laundromatresource.com/coaching. That link and every other link that we talk about in this whole episode today will be in the show notes, YouTube in the description down below. You can find show notes at laundromatresource.com/show28. All right. That was a mouthful, but let's get into it with Mason right after this.
In today's world, if your laundromat is not online, you're losing business. Customers increasingly decide who to trust with their laundry by the quality of your web presence. But creating a professional logo and website that instills trust in potential customers and can be found on page 1 of Google can be difficult to create on your own and expensive to purchase through a traditional marketing company. As part of our mission to help laundromat owners succeed and find financial freedom through laundromat ownership, we are launching our done-for-you marketing service tailored specifically for laundromats. After ranking number 1 on Google with our own laundromat website and consulting with many others to help them do the same, we guarantee that we can build you a professional website that ranks on page 1 of Google within 6 months. Our joint expertise in the laundry industry and over 15 combined years in website design and online marketing allow us to offer affordable, transparent pricing for a high-quality web presence for your laundromats. You invest so much into providing your customers a quality laundry experience. Don't let anyone miss out on what you have to offer simply because they can't find you online. Let Laundromat Resource Marketing take care of your online presence so you can take care of your customers. Visit laundromatresource.com/getonline today for more information. That's laundromatresource.com/getonline or click on the link in the description.
All right, Mason, man. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here. This is so dope.
Hey, man, I'm super pumped that you're here because you have got, you've got a story, and I am excited to hear it. I think it's going to be super inspiring for a lot of people because, one of the things, that I do is coaching calls a lot. And I get a lot of coaching calls from people who are either younger, wanting to get in like you, or people who have been researching for a long time, like years and decades even, who have not yet taken action. And here you are, you're 21 years old, is that right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
21 years old, laundromat owner, and I just think it's going to be super inspiring. So before we get there, man, tell us a little bit about you. Who are you? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Thank you. Thanks, Jordan. So as early as I can go back is when I was graduating high school about 3 years ago. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself. My mom was, you can't live here if you're not working or doing anything. I was just playing video games, just didn't know what to do with myself. So then I finally found out the one thing that I loved was music. So I went through the whole music route. So I went to a college in high school. After high school, I went to a music school in Hollywood, in LA. So I was like driving a couple hours to Hollywood. And
you're up in Big Bear, right?
Well, I moved to LA.
Okay.
I moved to my dad was living in LA, okay. But the traffic is wild out there. If you're not driving at 5 a.m., it's going to take you 2 hours anywhere, to get to Hollywood. Yeah. So I was driving to Hollywood, just grinding out the music. And that was a really that's what taught me like risk in a way, because that's such a hard business to just dip into. It's just so competitive. But so I finished and graduated and got my certificate in audio engineering. And so after that, I got lucky, found a job online doing basically I edit business voicemails. So like, let's say you have a business, for Jordan, press 1, for whoever, press 2. I'll take the dog out, the dog that's barking in the background, I'll edit it out. So I just started doing that, and I was pretty stagnant, like I got comfortable, but I started learning about, self-growth and just trying to grow. So from that point, I was still living out with my dad, and I got into the stock market, and I started working some more jobs. I was learning about, it's all about income. Like your income is basically like where you're going to be. So on my audio job, it was good, but it's not full time. So I couldn't just be comfortable. So I started working more jobs. I was working at a golf course, working at Target, just really trying to save for something. I didn't really know what yet. I just knew I needed to have some kind of a baseline for what I would do later. And I was trying to make the music happen, because I have my own music business where I make, hip hop beats, rap beats, stuff like that for artists. And that's hard. That's really hard, because you have to be known to scrape really well into that. But, so yeah, I was just playing around with all that stuff. And, so that's pretty much like, I was just stagnant, just trying to grow, looking for any opportunity. I remember countless nights on Google, what are the cheapest businesses I could buy? And, pizza shops would come up, laundromats would come up. And I always had that in the back of my head. And so that's pretty much my story, like how I started, where it came from. And
so where did you, okay, so you're working like 1,000 jobs, trying to create this base of money in order to kind of launch your next venture, and you didn't really know what it was.
Exactly.
So you're laying, sometime, I don't know when you're working so many jobs, but sometime you're browsing around on the internet looking for businesses to invest in. Is that?
Exactly. Yeah. Cause I had all this money that I was saving, just because I felt guilty. Everyone has this phase where you're spending money. Like I was a kid out of high school and I was making decent money for my age. So I was buying like Supreme shirts and Champion, Adidas. I was wasting all my money, but you get this guilt in the back of your head where I shouldn't be doing this. This doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like the right thing to do. So I started getting into finance and financial, and I was even going to college again to be a financial advisor and all this, but COVID, put a block on that. But so I knew I needed to save something. If anything, it could have been for retirement, just because the whole way I wanted to live life was work now, work, retire early, and just live a beautiful life with, my partner, whoever. Mm-hmm. That was kind of my goal for life.
Yeah. Well, I think that's awesome. And I think it's awesome that you kind of came to this realization that you needed to do a little bit of, financial education. Out of curiosity, I want to hear how that transitioned into you buying a laundromat in a second, but just real quick on the side note of the, financial education, I think financial education is so important. It's something that we don't really get in schools. And, it's really something that I didn't get until after I bought my first laundromat, and I started listening to podcasts as I was renovating my dump of a laundromat early on. And that's where my eyes really were open. But what did you do for financial education that kind of snapped you out of it?
That's a good question. Like you said, they don't teach you in school. And I just came out of school, so I can tell you everything I remember. They don't tell you anything about money and how money works, but I just remember my dad kind of got me into Bitcoin. Nice. He's like, son, you know what? Like, we're going to make it, because Bitcoin, this was before it exploded. And so that was like a controversial thing at the time. No one really knew what was going on with Bitcoin, the cryptos, So that's kind of how I fell in the stock market, because Bitcoin went crazy. It went up to like 14,000 for a coin, And that's when me and my dad started buying in, but then that was the peak, so it dipped. But these mistakes we make are great lessons for next time. So I took that as a lesson, and I said, hey, like, what can I do that's not cryptos? Because they're kind of sketch in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell into the whole stock market world and trading real business. And so I started playing around, and I feel like risk is a huge thing. You got to take the risk. You got to take the shot. Because otherwise you're just not going to grow. Like how I was just stagnant when I was working in one job. I was comfortable, but always try to be just doing something to grow. And that helped acquire my first laundromat. I got really lucky in stocks. Do you invest?
Yeah.
By chance?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So I'm sure you know about Tesla.
And
I'm sure you know what they were at last year and where they're at now. Yeah. So I bought, I'm not trying to, I'm just saying like, when you have a win in the market, it really keeps you to keep going. So my big win was Tesla, and that keeps me motivated to keep investing. So, I mean, I dumped almost, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but I really believed in Elon Musk. I was kind of like a fanboy, so I just dumped all my money in Tesla, and it worked out. Everyone didn't believe in Tesla, but I really saw the vision with like the self-driving cars and all this. So anyways, I made like 140% off my money, which is
nice. Huge.
Which is nice. Huge, yeah, because average is 8 to 10% every year or so. And that took time though. The first 4 months is not making anything. And that's where most people say, oh, stock market's a scam. This is how, this is just going to Bill Gates. It's going to his wallet. People think it's a scam, but you just got to be patient. And I'm just saying all this because it really changed my life. And I didn't even think about buying a business until everything leads to another and happens for a reason. But awesome. Thank you. So the Tesla thing happened. I had a big number in my account. So I was like, what am I going to do with this? Should I just keep stacking it? So in my head, I'm just going to keep stacking it until the opportunity arises, or I find a skill and I can open up my own business. Because my dream was to have my own studio and like have singers coming in and I record them and mix and, master and all that cool stuff. That was my dream, having a nice studio in LA. And what happened was COVID hit. So I was with my grandparents at the time because they're pretty close to my dad. I would switch between them to visit family. And they're older, so I didn't want to put them at risk. So I came back. I went up to Big Bear, which is where I grew up my whole life. And so I moved up to Big Bear. My mom's a real estate agent. She told me, hey, I'm selling this big building for this woman, and she's selling a laundromat. Do you know anyone that would want this, right? And in the back of my head, I remember the nights when I was looking up those businesses, and I thought it was really cool. But every time I looked it up on Google, you needed 700,000, you needed $1 million, for in LA. Those were the prices in my area. So I told my mom, how much is this going for? And she's like, less than 50,000 or so, less than 30, really depends on our deal. So I was like, wow, this is something we can really shoot for. So I just packed my bags, came up here, and we did it. And we bought it. Me and my mom went half and half, and I'm going to pay her off over the year, and then it'll be my baby.
No way.
So that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's super exciting and so cool. And I mean, it also is kind of testament to, having your eyes open and you're like letting people know too, like, hey, I'm looking for something, even if you don't know exactly what that is, because that's when opportunities kind of come your way, when people see that. And your mom had this connection and you guys jumped on it. Well, that's awesome. So how long ago was that?
So that was 2 months ago.
Oh my goodness.
During COVID. And that's why I'm a big preacher for like, you can do what you want, because I ended up doing this in the worst year we're going to live in our life. this is 100+ year event to happen to us. So you can do anything that you want. You just got to make it happen. But yeah, we just acquired it 2 months ago.
Wow. So what was it like purchasing it? How was it? Was it a difficult process? I mean, I don't know how much experience really you have or your mom has, buying a laundromat. So how was it? Kind of
we have zero experience. It was definitely one of those things where we had my dad and my stepfather are both businessmen, so I was able to approach them and ask them questions. So they helped me through the process. But it's also something that, when you think about buying a business, it's like, oh, it's too much work. But when it's happening, it doesn't matter how much work it is. You're doing it at night after your day job. You're researching P&Ls. I didn't know what a P&L was. I didn't know what that was, And then I'm looking up like, how old the machines are, when they're going to die, just all the research. So it's definitely, as a beginner, it's difficult, but that you can definitely find all this information online and guide you.
Yeah, totally. And I think you said it perfectly is, it sounds overwhelming and it can be overwhelming, but once you just commit to doing it, you just do it, right?
Exactly.
Like you do that research that you have to do, you find out the information you got to find out. If you don't know how to do something, you either figure it out or find someone who knows how to do it, and you can just make it happen.
Exactly.
Like that's what you guys did.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Dang. Awesome. Okay. Well, so you've owned it for, 8-9 weeks now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So what's it been like?
I gotta tell you, Jordan, it's so crazy. I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. The best way I can explain this, kind of like a car. In my body, I've always had the gas, I've always had the fuel, but I never had the vessel to kind of drive me. So I've always had something that I've always wanted to do inside me, and I try to put it towards music, and I love music, but that was never my car, that was like my hybrid. So when we did this business, that was my car. So all this fuel I had, I can just dump into it, and all my passion, all the things, all my knowledge, and I can just dump into it. So it's changed my life 100%. Going into it, I thought it could be a scam, it could be a risk, but the things that I had learned in my experiences was to take the risk, because it's just a lesson for the next thing. If it goes wrong, don't beat yourself up. It's just a lesson for the next one. So, because in the back of my head, when I was buying this thing, I was like, what if another COVID happens, or what if they're lying about the P&L, or, what if we're not making profits anymore and it's a waste? So that's definitely some concerns that any business person will have getting into their first endeavor.
Yeah, totally. And that's super common. And a lot of people that's paralyzing for. I talk to them all the time in coaching calls, right?
Yeah.
They can't really get over that. And understandably, I mean, it's super scary. So there's no shame in that. But on the other hand, if you don't take that leap, if you don't take that risk, calculated, but if you don't take it, then nothing is going to happen. So did you did you do anything to kind of mitigate that risk? Did you, like, during due diligence, how did you verify what she was saying, or were you able to, or did you just kind of say, well, we're just going to have to go with it and see how it plays out? We did some check. So I did some recon, as they would say. Right.
I showed up. Yeah, going south, I showed up pretending to do my laundry. But I showed up, made sure, the place wasn't a dump and wasn't empty. And when you're acquiring a place, you want to at least see what it is that you're buying before you even consider it. But I was there making sure people were coming in, people were happy, things were working. That was a whole nother process too before we bought it. We put quarters in all the machines, make sure all the dryers got hot, the washers were washing in all the different settings. So that's another thing that we did to make sure everything was working.
Nice.
But as far as confirming that the documents were 100% accurate, the woman we bought from, she's a lawyer. So we had some good trust in her because everything was organized beautifully in the P&L. So right away, if someone's trying to con you or scam you, it's probably going to be in like a Google sheet or something, you know?
Right, yeah.
But she was paying bookkeepers, she was paying accountants. So it had to stack up. So that was one way to that gave me confidence that it was legit. And then going in and making sure there's people showing up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's not a ghost town.
Exactly, right. Yeah.
Well, how old were the machines? Do you remember?
Okay, so the dryers are older than me.
Yeah. Well, it's not that hard to do. In fairness.
Right. I didn't know this when I learned all this. You can keep them maintained pretty well, but yeah, the dryers are 22 years old.
Okay.
They're Speed Queens, stack dryers, and then the washing machines are 16-gallon Maytags, and they're about 10 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So you got in there and verified as much as you could, and then just pulled the trigger. Pull the trigger.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Another thing I recommend real quick.
Yeah.
Is if you have no experience like myself. See if in the contract you can put that they're willing to train you and help with repairs and stuff like that for at least a year or two. Because, we ran into problems right away, and you will run into problems. Coming into this, I was like, I'll get lucky. I won't need to hire anyone to help me, but you don't get lucky, okay? You don't get lucky.
And if you don't want to bank on it.
Exactly, yep. So we had washers going out, we had dryers going out, but in the contract we had in there that they had to give some kind of effort in helping, whether that's just texting real quick how they would fix it. Mm-hmm. So, and they texted me exactly what to do, and voila, problem solved. And now I know how to do it for the next time.
Nice. Yeah, that's huge. I think that's an awesome tip, because stuff will go wrong, especially if your machine's a little bit older. It's just gonna go down. That's just what happens. And they're used a lot, and stuff just goes down. So having that support early on to help you build your knowledge and skill base, that's awesome. That's a good tip.
Thank you.
Okay, so you bought this laundromat and you own it now. First of all, what did that feel like when you got the keys for the first time? It's such a surreal feeling, because you don't have to report to anybody. You don't have a boss. I know.
You are the boss.
Yeah.
And the thing that was so funny to me is I got to wake my butt up to open this place. I never had that responsibility. I was the guy to sleep in. Like I said, when I was just starting and I was in high school and everything, I was just playing video games, just screwing around, I didn't have any, I had the drive. I just didn't know what.
Yeah. Didn't now focus it. Yeah.
Exactly. No focus. Right. So now it's I'm waking up at 8 and I'm forcing myself up because that's your baby. You're not going to, whatever, I'm going to be late today. It's no, you're going there at 8 because people are waiting for you. You know? Yeah. So it's an awesome feeling. It was kind of unreal for the first couple of weeks, People would come in, oh, you guys are new owners. And, sometimes you don't know what to say. And sometimes they say, yeah, I work here. Because you want to be humble. You don't want to belittle others. And that's kind of something I do the best I can, because I'm a little younger, as I don't want to come off. I don't want to come off like I'm doing better just because I'm younger. I happen to have followed some steps in a certain way, based by my family showing me how to do that. So that's something I really try to do, is not to make anyone feel any less for that reason.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I remember, getting the keys for the first time, and then everybody kind of left, and I was standing there well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Who's going to tell me what to do now?
Yeah.
It's a pretty surreal feeling. Definitely unreal. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about what is like, what does a typical day look like for you? I mean, you're dragging your butt out of bed to go open it up. You guys open up at 8:00?
So yeah, our hours are from 8 to 8:30 p.m.
Okay.
So like I said, I'm a total night owl. I'll be up till 2, 3. But I'm getting better now because you gotta be responsible. But.
Yeah. People are counting on you.
Yes. I learned that the hard way one day, but we can get into that.
Yeah.
But so 8 to 8. So typical days, I'll wake up, go over there. Just if I didn't clean the night before, I'll do a quick clean of the place. And then I used to work my audio job, my day job. I was working in the office there. So I was on site 24/7, helping people out. I feel like that helped so much.
Yeah.
Just to give people confidence that they have help. Because we have a couple dryers that aren't really dryers. They're more like slot machines.
Sometimes they work, sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a couple like that. So just giving people the confidence that if there's a problem, they just knock on the door and literally I'm right there to help.
Right.
And if I can't help them, I give them a refund. So
yeah,
I feel like that really helped a lot. But yeah, so the typical day when I was working there, I'd just be in the office. I was working my 9 to 5, help anyone, my lunch break, I'll do more cleaning in there. And then when we close around 8:30, if we have some people trickle in, I usually let them stay a little later if I was cleaning because it's all good.
Yeah.
But if I was trying to get out of there, I'd just say, I'm sorry, 8:30 tonight. But yeah, so that's pretty much like an average day. We don't get crazy traffic because we're in a small town, Big Bear City.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small town and there's 4 laundromats in all of Big Bear. We're all kind of spread out. So it's kind of like a gas station, the closest one is where you're going to go.
Right.
You won't drive 10 minutes to me unless you like me, then you'll come drive 10 minutes to me. But for the most part,
I'm going to drive.
Thank you.
2.5 hours up to you.
Thank you. That'd be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, so it's just, we're trying to make people regulars and it's like the closest one is people are so we had to step up the Yelp game, step up the Google game, just really learning about all that stuff.
Yeah. So are you there all day still or not anymore?
So not anymore. Now I'm there when I'm fluff and folding.
Okay.
However, during my day job, I'm at my house now because I'm a new renter.
Awesome.
As well, which is cool.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Just all kinds of big stuff happening over there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Appreciate it.
What struggles have you had so far?
That's a great question. There's some real struggles that you gotta pick your poison on some things because it can be late at night and you gotta ask yourself, do I want to clean now or tomorrow or am I going to skip it? Because it really depends if you're fluff and folding or not. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing because I had no idea what that was and the previous people weren't doing it. So I started tackling that. But a struggle would be for us is just keeping our not scaring anyone away if somebody suspicious comes in for a day. That's kind of something because what will happen is a homeless person will come in and I have total respect for these people. I just ask them, are you going to use our machines? Like if you're not using our machines, I'm sorry, you can't stay. Yeah. But so some people look scary to our regulars, sometimes someone a homeless man will come in and I won't see a regular I haven't seen one for months, They get scared away. They'll call me and say, someone suspicious is here. They're looking around at all your TV and your speakers or, scoping the place out. I don't, sorry, this looks weird. So I think that's a struggle, but you can definitely prevent that. So we just put in better security cameras. This one will track human faces, like has facial recognition, stuff like that.
High tech. I like that.
It's all about, we're trying to keep our customers feeling safe.
Totally.
Because if that happens, I would feel awful if someone didn't feel safe at our laundromat.
Totally.
I would just feel I'd feel terrible if someone doesn't feel safe. So for a time, I was even just doing my work with the door open. My office door, I'd leave it open so everyone could see me. And I would be there to assist, and they would know that place was safe because I was right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the main struggle.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty common struggle, no matter where you are, really, is, the homelessness issue. And it's tough because it's a tough balance between, setting a firm boundary. But, they're people, but they also do cause a lot of problems, not just for you and your business, but also for your customers. And, you want to make sure, like you said, everybody's staying safe and feeling safe. And, because if not, they're not going to come to your business. They're going to go, they are going to drive 10 minutes down the road to your competitor. Right.
Exactly.
So, has there been anything, surprising about it, or anything that's gone better than you expected after buying it?
Those are good questions. So it's funny. I never cleaned in my life before the laundromat. I never did laundry in my life. And now I'm folding 300 pounds every day. So definitely, just if you want something to happen, you have all the tools at your disposal, at your fingertips. I literally went on YouTube and looked up how to fold a fitted sheet, because that thing was the bane of my existence. I could not fold that thing. It was just a blob every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can just do a quick YouTube and boom, now you just practice a little bit, and now everyone's like, wow, yeah, teach me how to do that, So things that you encounter, you definitely just research those forums. Laundromat Resource.
Hey.
You're incredible. The channel's great.
Thanks, man.
I've been watching you the whole time. Yeah, it's a great resource. I've learned all my fluff and fold stuff from you. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, not from me, but from the people who are killing it, because those guys are doing awesome, and you're doing awesome.
From your hosts.
We're gonna have a fitted sheet folding competition between you and Mark Blaskamp. So
let's do it.
We'll see what happens. Mark, he's throwing down the gauntlet, man. This is happening.
That's funny. Man.
Well, one question that I really wanted to ask you, because I think you have a really unique perspective on it, is are there any, there's not a lot of people your age going out and buying any businesses, really, but especially in the laundromat industry, because like you said, when you go online and you search, you see these big numbers. They can cost a lot of money. They don't have to, and there are ways that you can get free laundromats, and those can be legitimate ways, or you can get them cheaper. But there's just not a lot of young people doing this. So, two questions. One is, do you see any advantages or disadvantages of being young and being an owner in this business?
Absolutely. The biggest thing when you're young that you have on your side is time. So now you have all this time to make your laundromat, your empire, if you want to call it your empire, just to expand and grow it. You have more time, and the more time you put in your business, that can be an exit strategy. Now you're going to be selling for more because you have to put more time. It's going to be worth more. It's going to be more valuable to buyers. So definitely it is I would say the most important thing is time, having time on your side. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I think that you're right. And I think one of the things that you seem to be doing really well is leveraging that time to your advantage by working at the laundromat. You have other stuff to do, but you still have that time, and you can do what you're doing, from there for a while. And you have that time to kind of grind. You can work a day job and do fluff and fold and clean your store and get your butt out of bed and open it, because you have that time, right? You don't have a family right now and all that. So
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, huge. Well, my other question, it's along similar lines, but do you have any advice for anyone who's listening to this or watching this who is younger, who maybe wants to get started either in the laundromat business or in business in general? Do you have any advice for younger entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I would definitely start by organizing and managing your money is huge. I forget the exact numbers, but if there's an emergency that costs $1,000, I think 90% or so of Americans would be in debt. So just understanding that that's scary. You don't want to be that one of those people. And it's okay if you are, because you can catch up, and it's fine because you just weren't taught in school, and you never learned from an outside source. Mm-hmm. So what I tell anyone that I meet, just because I feel it's my duty, is about investing. If you want to go risk-free, you just go into an index account or a Roth IRA. You start like one of those accounts. Those are super risk-free because it's all like S&P 500 companies. Or you can do single stocks, which is a little riskier unless you have time for research. That's what I did, and I found Tesla. So you could have, you'll have your big win and you'll be hooked. Mm-hmm. That's how it goes in the market, Yeah. So, but it's all about just get the foundation of how the money works. My dad was always telling me to take an accounting class, learn all these basic business things, just because that's the foundation of how your business, the ins and the outs, because that will apply towards any business you buy, not just laundromat, but donut shop, pizza place, whatever. You can take it with you to any of these. So I would say that'd be my number one tip.
That's incredible advice for young entrepreneurs, but also for all of us, really. Like that, like we talked about already, that financial education that, is key. And because you're not getting it from your traditional education sources, you got to go find places to get it. And there's all kinds of places to get it. Not all created equal, but there are all kinds of places to get it. Maybe I'll ask you, when I ask you about resources, mm-hmm. maybe I'll ask you about if you have any personal finance, recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a little teaser for you. We will get there. Is there anything else about your story? I want to hear a little bit more detail about your actual laundromat here in a second. We have a little section called Down to Business. But anything else about your story that you feel like we need to know before we move on to that?
Like I say, and like I preach, this is the hardest year for anyone. If you're listening to this in your life, this is the hardest year for you and all of us. This will be, because it's a 100-year event. So the fact, I have no idea. If you told me 2 months ago I'd do this, no way, man. You're crazy. Like, get out of here. No. So anything really can happen. You just make the best decisions you can, and you just stay humble and just stick with that foundation and your consistency. That's really it. And, it'll work out for you. There will be a time where it comes, your knowledge will be very valuable.
Love it. Well, let's get down to business. So you are located in Big Bear, California, right?
Yes.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Big Bear, California is up in the mountains. It's pretty much where everybody from LA goes if they want like a quick day trip up to the snow. Big Bear is the spot to go. So it's a smaller town, relatively speaking. Like I said, up in the mountains. So that's cool spot. You own one laundromat, no real estate yet?
No real estate.
Okay. That's cool. And one of the things, and you've been in the business for what, 9 weeks? Is that?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One of the things I'm really curious about, if you don't mind sharing, is how much does it cost to do laundry up in Big Bear?
That's a great question. And I actually don't know how much it costs anywhere else. So I won't know if your reaction is a good one or a bad one.
Oh my gosh.
So pretty much we're priced to, we just match our competitors, honestly, because, it's where you're at. You're going to go to the closest one, not to the cheapest one, really. So they're all the same for the most part. Mm-hmm. So for our 2-load 16-gallon washers, it's $2 for a wash. You get 2 loads. And then for our dryers, which are also, they hold 2 loads, it's 8 minutes for 1/4. So about $1 for your typical clothes. If you're going to be drying like towels and all that, they absorb more moisture. So that'll be 5 quarters, 5 to 6. Yeah. And there's a really big laundromat up here in Big Bear, right next to one of the big grocery stores, next to Vaughn's. And they're priced, their 16-gallon machines are priced at $2. They have triple loaders. We're going to be getting triple loaders soon. Ours broke down, but theirs are priced at $4 for a 3-load wash. And the dryers are the same. So everywhere is the same. It's just which one you like to go to.
Yeah. Which one's probably more convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as it's clean.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're not at too big of a casino where.
Yeah. As long as it's 1 or 2, then that's okay.
Yeah. So is your laundromat right now is unattended, right? Nobody's there during the day?
At all times, correct. No one's there at all times. However, I do enjoy spending my time there.
Yeah.
Cleaning and fluffing and folding. So it's half and half.
I'm going to mark it down as partially attended.
Okay. Partially. Yeah.
No, that's cool. And it's you who's doing it, right? You're the one there cleaning and
yes, sir.
Serving the customers and stuff.
Yep.
Again, leveraging that time that you have right now. And it's going to be an awesome experience for you too, because as you expand either in this business or in any business, really, you're going to be learning things just by serving customers and learning how business works because you've put your time in there. It's really going to translate well, whether you go to more laundromats, bigger laundromats, or some other business, it's still going to translate pretty well.
Absolutely. 100%. And real quick, you reminded me of something.
Yeah.
Something I learned that helped me massively. It's your mentality. It's how you think. You don't go into business to make a whole bunch of money and scam people or, try to do as least work and make as much money. You go into business to serve your community. So going into that mentality, you will have the most respect for your customers. You will do what is in their favor, and you'll be thinking about them, and that will make you more successful in the long run. That's what I believe, at least, and it's working for us.
That mindset will make you more successful. You're dead on. You have learned a lesson that it takes many people many years if they ever learn it at all. And I think, that's one of the keys to business, especially the way business is run now. If you can serve that customer and that is your number one goal, well, the money will follow, right? The money's going to come. So, you focus your time on serving your customer and let the rest kind of take care of itself. Obviously you want to be strategic about it.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with making money, but your priority needs to be serving people. Cool. Are you a coin store?
All coins. Yeah. All quarters.
Yes. Have you been affected at all by the coin shortage or not really?
Not. I don't see how there's a issue, but maybe that's because I'm in a I'm in a bubble up here.
You're in a bubble. Yeah. Well, I think it's alleviated some at least.
Okay.
But so maybe you got in after the hardest hit.
I might have gotten lucky. Yeah.
Who knows? And then if you had to guess, I know you were there basically 24/7 early on, but if you had to guess now, how many hours a week do you think you spend working on your laundromat or at your laundromat?
So when I was working there, I was literally there 16 hours every day. Now I'm there about 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours every day. Because we just acquired a couple business accounts with the Fluff and Folds, and we can get into that in a little bit because that's like a whole nother topic,
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is something I wanted to ask you about is, so there was no Fluff and Fold before you got into it, right? So what made you decide to do it, and how did you start that? Because it sounds like you're doing pretty decent Fluff and Fold business now, and that's pretty quick.
So that I have to say thanks to you, because one of your guests, Matthew Simmons, I believe, Simons, I heard his story. I watched. That's my favorite. Yep, that's my favorite episode on Laundromat Resource. I watched that and blew my mind away about the website and everything Fluff and Fold related. It just destroyed me, So, previous owner at our place was not Fluff and Folding. For them, it was just passive. And in Big Bear, the population's so low you have different tiers of laundromats. Up here, like a small one will make $1,000 to $3,000 a month from the people that trickle in. So anything over that, and the people that trickle in pretty much just pay the bills. So anything after that is straight to your pocket for improvements, more new machines, whatever you want to use it for. So that's the interesting thing. So pretty much those your regulars and people coming in, they're there to keep the lights on and keep the water going.
Right.
So it's really important to us to try to get some more business somehow. And so one day I was putting all our new Google information, putting in I put my phone as the business phone.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Just cause, you can ask me anything and call me up. I'll be your, we're friends.
Yeah, we're buddies now.
We're buddies. Yeah.
I'm going to start prank calling you now.
So, I was putting the information in. The next day, I got a call, and basically a company similar to Airbnb, they called and they said, "Hey, would you like hundreds of pounds of laundry being dropped off or so?" And I said, at the time I had no idea like numbers. I didn't know what to price a fluff and fold. I didn't know how much 100 pounds really was. So I was like, piece of cake. I can do that in an hour. When I'm done working, I'll just do it on my lunch break or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, I finally figured a price point. So we do $1 a pound.
Okay.
For everyone, for commercial, for business accounts, and for personal. It's $1, just to keep things easy. But yeah, the first day they dropped off the 100-pound bag, I was just staring at it. I didn't even want to move from my seat because it was the most laundry I've seen in my life. But
this coming from a guy who had never really cleaned or done laundry before owning the laundry.
Yep.
So that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Just, I was spoiled in that way. Had mommy doing my laundry.
Did you call your mom up and be like, "Hey,
can you help me?
We're halvesies on this. Come do this laundry."
I wish. But yeah, I totally just, we have a little market next door, so I just got a Red Bull and powered through it. I looked up some YouTube videos on, how much bleach do I use on a 16-gallon? Everything's right there on Google. You just got to think to look it up. Yep. Yeah. So, but so we got, right now we have 2 business accounts. We have similar to Airbnb. Their name is Vacasa. And then we have another similar business, Wow Rentals. So they come and they drop things off.
Dude, that's awesome. And so did both of those come from your Google My Business listing?
It's amazing. I just answered the phone. "Hey, what's up?" And, it was the head guy at the other side. And they're asking,
friend Mason.
Yeah. And, they're like, "Hey, can we drop hundreds of pounds off?" And, like I said, no idea what that was, but I gladly accepted. And that alone, because the previous owners weren't really doing fluff and fold. For them, they're remote. They weren't in Big Bear. So it was passive. And that's fine. If you want to do it like that, that's totally fine. However you want to run your business, it's up to you. And it's totally business. Cool.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. For me, it was like, our lease is 2 years. So I'm trying to do as much as I can, just in case we can't extend it, because the whole building is being sold right now. So there is a chance that the building gets sold, and then after the lease, they're going to want renters in there because that's more profitable for a business, for a building owner. So we're just trying to. That's another thing, is to think about like all those little cracks in the floor, and just be ready, because So the whole fluff and fold thing, double their income.
Dude, killer. That's so cool.
Which is crazy.
And it speaks to, I think we're getting there as an industry, but it speaks to the importance of just doing the simple things like have a website, have a Google My Business account, manage your Yelp page at least a little bit with a Yelp business account. You can do it from your phone. So, just do it. Get on Google Maps, get on Apple Maps. That's how we're going to find you. Those kind of simple things. But, if you don't know how to do them, you don't know how to do them. So find somebody to help you do it if you don't know how to do it. Because
absolutely,
look at that. That's basically doubled his business for free just by updating his Google My Business page. So if that sounds attractive to anyone, get on it if you don't have a Google My Business account yet. So, man, that's cool. So did they drop it off on a regular interval, like regular day, regular time kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So Vacasa, they pretty much, it's every day. And we got an automated system because I had on my lunch break, I was going over there and letting them in the office, and we were trading, dirty for clean linens.
Right.
But then I thought, why don't I just put in a code on the door and then just give them the code? So now I can just chill here and actually have a lunch now.
yeah, right. Actually get to eat.
Yeah, so now I'm eating on lunches, and
that's weird.
Right? Yeah. So that's another thing. Just small little improvements, like all the little things, they matter. They add up. It's all those little things, but so yeah, they drop off every day from 80 pounds to 300, and my girlfriend helps me. She'll come and
all right. So you are recruiting some help. I like that. Mom won't do it. You got to get the girlfriend to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. And they're good at laundry.
Good.
Yeah. They're good at laundry. But yeah, so she'll stuff the washers while I'm cleaning, and and we'll split it for the day, So it's a cool little thing that we got going on. And then the WOW Rentals, they bring it like twice a week. They'll have comforters for us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're looking into getting more business accounts.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the episode with Matthew, that is that blew me away. Like, that makes me want to get a website for the Fluff and Folds, and all the things he talks about is huge. That was the most valuable video I've seen. So
yeah, I'll link that. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll link it down below, because it really was just an incredible episode. And if you're listening on a podcast, that link to Matt's interview will be in the show notes, or you can find it at laundromatresource.com/listen is the link to the podcast episodes there. So cool. With Matt Simmons from Curbside, man, that's awesome. And that's a huge win, especially with the short lease. It's a little risky to have a short lease like that and not know if you're going to have business in a couple of years. But, if you can get a couple of years of business experience and you can turn a profit of some sort in a couple of years, even if it closes down, you don't get to renew that lease or whatever, you've gained a lot. You've gained a lot. You've gained a lot of experience. You've gained a lot of, just knowledge and wisdom on business,
absolutely,
general, on finance, all this stuff. So, and systems. I mean, even just putting in a keypad on your door so that you don't have to be there. Like, that's an awesome system that you put in place that, dramatically improves the quality of your life, because now you get to eat lunch.
Yeah.
And it's simple and cheap. That's like super easy to do.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, like you said, it adds up.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, dude, thank you for telling us about your business. That was very cool to hear about. And it's so cool for me to hear about how things work up in Big Bear. Just because I never really even considered, like, obviously there had to be at least one or two laundromats up in Big Bear, but I never really even thought about it at all. So, because it's a unique community. So it's super cool to hear about it. All right. Well, we have another section we call Secret Sauce.
Listen up, it's the Secret Sauce.
And Secret Sauce is, do you have any tips of something that's working really well for you that you think would work well for other owners, help them improve their business?
So it's really interesting. We all come from different backgrounds and different industries. So just based on what you were doing in the past is kind of like how you're going to do things in the present, future. So I was in the music industry trying to be big and, be with all the artists and all that fun stuff. But so something I learned from the music industry was brand recognition. For people to want to listen to your music, you got to have a good logo. It looks good. The names got to roll off the tongue. It's all aesthetic, because that just, they want to come to you if it looks good. Mm-hmm. So something really interesting when we came into the laundromat business, when we were scoping out laundromats, you know what everyone's name is up here?
What's that?
Laundromat.
Yeah.
They're all just laundromat. That's like if I was, making music and my name was Music.
Yeah, musician.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's so odd. Well, why? So we got a logo. I got on our shirt.
There it is, all about laundry.
Yeah.
Love it.
So it's really brand recognition. You're establishing, no, we're not just a laundromat. We're different. We are something else. This is a professional relationship that we have with you. We want you to be coming back with us. So we put the logo all up outside. Our name, All About Laundry, we saved that. That was the previous owner's name. We kept it. They gave it to us. They let us have it. Nice. We thought it was a great name. It just needed the logo and the colors. And so I feel like a big thing is brand recognition to separate you from laundromat.
Totally.
Just the simple places.
Totally. That's huge. And again, another part of our industry that is improving. But that brand recognition thing, like you said, there's probably more, just quote unquote laundromat, businesses out there or laundry or washateria or whatever, wash house. And that brand recognition is important because it not only, makes you stand out from your competitors, but it gives customers something to latch on to identify with, it creates an emotion in them. And if you can create a positive emotion in people, that drives a deeper connection. So I think that's huge. And an awesome secret sauce. I don't think that we've gotten that one before, but that's an awesome one. So way to bring the youth spunk and forethought of brand recognition. I love that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. We have another section called Pro Tips.
Pro Tips.
And Pro Tips is for people like you 10 weeks ago who maybe haven't bought their first one yet or looking to buy their first one. And do you have any advice for them as they're looking to buy their first laundromat?
I think I have two things that are huge for a newbie. I'm still a newbie, but I'm a little more... I'm a little less newbie.
You're a step ahead.
Step ahead. Thank you. I couldn't put it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think something that could be very rewarding is the laundromat you're buying. For instance, the one that we bought had lots of improvement needed to be done, which means lots of growth, which means we can kind of grow it how we want. We have that control. If you go in to buy a laundromat and it's where it should be in your eyes, like you have no vision for growing it, you don't see any improvements, then basically it's controlling you in a way because you're not affecting it the way you're not putting your personal touches on it, your little touches. But when we went into this business, it needed help. It was good, and I have all respect for the previous owners. They maintained the machines, they cleaned. They did a beautiful job keeping the machines going. Mm-hmm. However, the place was boring color, dated. Yeah. And like I said, totally understandable when these two people aren't living in Big Bear, so totally get it. But when we were buying, I saw a vision. I had, boom, my head just exploded with what I want to do. We want to do paint. We want to do speakers. We want to have music. We want to have TV. We want to have just cool stuff, right? And now that's all in my control. I can put my little touches. And that could be another little pro tip into that is
yes, I like it.
Here's a bonus tip. So if you are a little younger, it's I don't know why, but I just know, we know technology, not saying older people don't. You can still learn. I think we just grow up with that that modern age, the technology at the time, and we just play with it and figure it out. I think that's another advantage is having technology on your side, because a lot of laundromat owners will not want to have any sort of automation or technology related devices, but it could really help in the long run. Yeah. And to kind of go from that, my second tip, I would say, is another thing from the music business. it's funny because music actually helps you remember things. So I make sure to always play music in my laundromat and I just play Spotify. I play, the playlist that we play is called, there's a playlist that has very clean music. We play clean music. We don't want to offend anybody.
Like death metal, right?
Yeah. We just play screamo all day.
Yeah.
It's a family-friendly place, depending on your laundromat, unless it's, where bikers come and hang out, then cool. But
the biker laundromats are popularity.
But for us, it's family-friendly place, so we play clean. It's called Top Hits, Today's Morning. I forget, it's on Spotify's thing. But so if you hear a song that you like, you're singing along, and you're at our laundromat, and the brand recognition, it ties into that. These all synergize. It all synergizes with each other. You're going to remember the logo. You're going to remember the smell that we use to clean with. You're going to remember that dryer that didn't work, but the guy came and helped you. All because of the music scientifically is proven to help your memory. While you're listening to music, you have better memory. You can call things back easier. So, and it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt to have some clean music playing. So that's just a little thing we've been playing around with.
Yeah, totally. And I love that because, it kind of goes back to that brand recognition thing, right? Like you're creating a feeling for people. And that's exactly what you're saying right now, right? Like if you are playing, some clean music, it's fun, it's upbeat or whatever. And, somebody hears a song they like while they're doing their laundry, folding their socks or whatever. It creates a feeling in them. And that feeling is something that people want to hold on to. And it creates that customer loyalty. And it's a real easy way to do that. So, having a brand and playing music, those little touches like that, it's a big deal. They add up and they are meaningful things. So I think those are awesome pro tips for newbies and for current owners who are, running their stuff right now too. So, man, kudos. That was like 2 plus a bonus. That was like, geez, man, just giving the house away today. I love it. I love it. Man, I was just going to ask you something. It was like a genius question.
Ooh.
But I forget what it was. Maybe it'll come back.
It'll come back.
What? I'm part of that older generation that you were talking about, that we don't know technology.
I didn't mean it like that. Totally,
No, I'm just kidding. Hey, well, one question that I do have that I'm very curious about is, do you have any resources that you recommend to help people succeed in their business or in their life? And I also want to throw in, personal finance resources.
Right.
That, we kind of talked about that too.
Right. I'm a complete YouTube nut job. That's my spare time. So for finance, I learned everything from. Can I mention other people?
Yeah, mention them, man. We'll link them.
Okay, cool.
Love it. Let's just throw some wealth around for some people who are doing awesome stuff on YouTube.
Absolutely. So the one that I would say is number one. The channel is Dave Ramsey. Taught me everything about money. He's a very inspirational guy. If you are religious, there are some things that kind of money ties into the Bible in a way, but if you're not religious, that's okay. Methods still, everything still works. It's just interesting to see how religion kind of plays into business too. Some other channels, Laundromat Resource, of course.
Oh, nice.
100%.
Nice, man.
And that's really the ones in the top of my head.
Really, those are the only two you need. As long as you have Laundromat Resource and Dave Ramsey.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Those are awesome resources, especially if you're looking into personal finance. I really recommend, finding a couple of people on YouTube to listen to about, personal finance. Somebody like a Dave Ramsey who has one philosophy of personal finance. If you want to kind of contrast that, Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, he has a little bit different philosophy of personal finance. And so it's just kind of interesting to hear the different philosophies and figure out kind of where you land on that spectrum between, some of those guys. So pretty cool. Man, awesome resources. And I will link to Dave Ramsey's channel and you've already found Laundromat Resource. You're already like, if you're listening to this or watching this, you're half the battle right there to success. So
go to.
Cool, man. I mean, this has been awesome. I mean, I love the fact that here you are, 21 years old, kind of looking for your path in life, looking in the music industry, which is this, it probably cannot be any opposite of Laundromat, right? It's like sexy. It's like, just like everybody knows it. There's big names in it. And, and then you got Laundromats over here that is like probably one of the least sexy businesses. And, nobody's ever grown up being like, hey, I want to do that. I want to be a laundromat mogul. So, not even my own kids are saying that. So they don't want to be YouTubers actually. So,
that's cool.
I know.
That's fun.
Yeah. But anyways, dude, I mean, this has just been incredible. So thank you so much for coming on. One more question I have for you before I let you go is, if somebody wants to contact you, maybe there's somebody young out there who wants to contact you, maybe ask you some questions. Maybe there's somebody, old like me who maybe is laid up because they have a hip and their arthritis is acting up or whatever. But they want to contact you because they're just inspired by what you're doing, man, because it really is inspiring. You've taken some leaps that are really, really difficult to take. And you're doing it, man. You're doing it. And, but if anybody wants to kind of either say thank you for coming on or maybe have some questions for you, what's the best way they can contact you?
My phone. They can have my phone.
Okay. Do it at your own risk, man. You might get some calls.
It's all good.
All right.
909-273-5609. Yeah, no, I'm totally open with just collaborating, if you will, on ideas and business endeavors and just helping people be more confident in this adventure, their first adventure. Absolutely. Because we all started from zero, and you see someone that's up here, you think, wow, that's impossible. But they climbed all these steps to get there, and they will, most of the time, they're 100% happy to help you climb those steps. And I'm on the first step, so I'll help you, with that. But
but taking that first step it's probably the hardest step, right? And I think that's where you come in as being somebody who is super inspiring and super valuable, because you've taken that first step, and that's the hardest one to do. And you did it at a very young age, and have kind of pushed through some of that like anxiety I talked to a ton of people in coaching who they're like, they really want to get in the business, but it's just so hard to overcome and take that first step because there's so many what ifs and there's just so much tugging you, telling you not to jump. All your instincts are saying, don't jump. But if you want to get somewhere, you got to jump, right? And you've done that. And so super valuable. Well, hey,
thank you.
Listen, if you want to connect up with Mason, you got his phone number now. He's a brave soul, putting his phone number out there for you to contact him. But do it, man. Shoot him a text, shoot him a call, and tell him thanks and ask him some questions because, he is doing cool stuff. I can tell you have an awesome mindset and you're doing it, man. So cannot wait to hear how this journey goes and where it takes you. It's weird the directions life takes you. And I'm sure you're just at the beginning. So you're probably going to be going all over the place. And I love it. And I can't wait to see where it takes you.
Thank you. And I just want to say thank you, Jordan, for having me. Love your channel. You're doing great things for everybody, providing big value for newbies and veterans. So everything you're doing is very appreciated.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And we will catch you again soon. We're going to have you back on here in the future and get an update on how everything's going. Maybe when that lease is up and we'll see what you end up doing with it. So.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for coming on and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, man. I mean, Mason, I love what he's doing. I love that he just went out there and got it. I love that he's been experimenting with a whole lot of different things from, crypto stuff to stocks to, businesses now and just so much cool stuff. Hip hop beats. I mean, everything. He's been all over the place. He's only 21 years old and this guy is definitely going somewhere and I cannot wait to see where he's going. And I love what he's doing with his laundromat. He had awesome advice for younger people and for people who haven't just gotten started, been able to take that first step, because it is really difficult to take that first step. So there was great advice in there. But for me, and again, I always say, hey, pick one thing out of each episode that you can take away from it and actually apply to your life, figure out, or to your business, figure out how to put something from this episode into practice. And as we continue to do that episode after episode, watch what happens to us as we grow personally, and watch what happens to our businesses as our businesses get better and better as we just continually improve them. One thing that I love, actually two things that I love that he said. The first is he said, hey, take a risk, and if it doesn't work out, then just consider it a lesson. And I love that because it takes the sting out of failure. And, failure is something that I think we fear. I know I fear it all the time. And I think in order to be successful, you just have to be okay with the fact that you're probably going to fail at some things. And you might fail hard sometimes. You might fail hard multiple times. And yet every time you're doing that, you're learning, you're growing, and you're setting yourself up for success even more. So I love that he said that. The other thing that I really loved was I think it was his secret sauce. Yeah. And he talked about brand recognition. And I just think that that's awesome. It's a tough thing to do with laundromats, but some of you guys are doing it so well. And some of us, I'll throw myself in there, some of us could do a better job of brand recognition. So I love that. I thought it was a very kind of new school way of thinking about laundromats. And I'm always looking for the new school ways of doing things, because life is always changing and our world is changing so fast. We got to be able to change with it. All right. I hope you loved this episode as much as I did, because I loved it. Mason, you rock, man. And can't wait to have you back on to hear all the cool things that you're doing. All right. We will see you guys next week for show 29. Until then, peace.